I've been thinking of a place. I've been making my escape. I've been thinking of a place. I've been making my escape. I've been thinking of a place. I've been making my escape. If you wanna live more, take me to this place alone. She said, you wanna let go, then let me just take you home. Don't know anything about you or anything about tonight. If I want anything around you, don't say anything about Is this how I find you in my heart? Is this why you need me? I need to fall through in my heart. So I need the same thing that you want, to live and take things that I like. I need the same thing that you want, to live and take things that I like. Everybody wants, everybody wants, everybody got everybody. Everybody wants, everybody wants, everybody wants, everybody wants everybody.
Welcome to All in Yellow.
The official Norwich City podcast.
This is your official Norwich City podcast, bringing you insight and experiences from some of your favourite Norwich City names.
Rely on our youth and our academy. We need to implement a bit special style of playing.
Players are not afraid of going on loan. They know that I can go and be the next Todd Cantwell.
I like the atmosphere at Carrow Road, and I think our fans are great, and it enriches my life.
Make sure you subscribe to the All in Yellow podcast as we aim to bring the best Norwich City insight out there. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search All in Yellow, and we're on the Norwich City YouTube channel. That's if you prefer your podcasts in visual form.
When I first started to play football was when I was 8 years old, 7-8 years old. When I come to Germany, my stepfather was my first coach. He showed me the game. My favorite player when I grew up, I had a lot of favorite players. One of them was definitely Ronaldinho, but there was as well Francesco Totti, there was Zinedine Zidane. I had a lot of really favorite players. Bayern Munich. I remember my first shirt that I got was from Bayern Munich. Was with Giovanni Elba, a legend player at that time, and this was my first really nice shirt I loved. And Bayern Munich, I was from that time always a Bayern Munich fan. The best player I ever played against, like there was some that I played against last year against Wan-Bissaka. I had good duels on the pitch with him, very intense duels, and the other two was like Mane from Liverpool and Mo Salah. These are the players really there for me, one of the best players that I ever played. My best mate on that time was Dennis Rubini. He was a very great guy, but I think I have a lot of mates here in the team. Like there's a lot of other guys there. Really, I don't know. We do a lot of things together sometimes. Go out for dinner. There's no one really there. Really, I can say is my best mate. We all are good mates to each other, and we like each other. And yeah, that's how it is. What I especially like when I come to the country is the Sunday roast dinner. That's my favorite game. What I really like to play, there's only one. It's FIFA. My favorite movie. Oh, I had a lot. I had Pocahontas. I had a lot. But really, one what I really like is I don't know if you all know Terence Hill, Bud Spencer. My Name is Nobody. No? With Terence Hill and Bud Spencer. You know Bud Spencer? That guy that give the big tall guy. My Name is Nobody. You don't know that movie. Terence Hill and My Name
1973. This one.
Definitely a businessman, and sells some products or whatever it is, some properties, something like that. I think I was always interested in that, and yeah, something like that. I played against Todd before, and he's a good FIFA player, definitely, but I think if it's a match against Todd, I think I will definitely win.
I'm always catching feelings out of white lies.
Chijo Afoe and Howson! Wow, what a strike that is from Johnny Howson out of absolutely nothing. The 10 men of Norwich are level with a screamer.
What you gonna do without talking too much? When you got no hope to believe in, no hope to get to sleep in. What you gonna do when it's all too much? When you got no hope to believe in, no hope to believe in, no hope, no
Good afternoon and welcome to Carrow Road virtually still at the moment. There's John Obi Mikel, of course. Hopefully the force is not with him today. See what I did there, Rob? And there's Angus Gunn, of course, well known to faces in Norfolk. And there's Carrow Road, looking resplendent. Still no fans in this stadium, unfortunately, but the sun is shining. It is a cold, brisk winter's summer feel today, Rob.
Yep.
How are you? Good?
I'm good, thank you, yes.
Big game for Norwich today, though, isn't
Massive. Massive game for Norwich today after, I mean, they've only lost one in the last 7, but the draws, the lack of goals, so like all has to be addressed today, hopefully. So a good, solid win will make everyone feel really positive again.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the team news straight away. A few changes in the side today. Janulis is back at left back. We've got obviously Vrancic is playing as the number 10. Campbell's in, and of course, Emi Buendia is back in. Is back in, mate. But that's a big one for Norwich, isn't it? Most importantly, it's become more evident just how important he is in these last few games, hasn't it?
Well, he's your creative player in the team. Him and Todd Cantwell, probably he's the best. He's the best in the squad that can create chances by those little slide rule passes that Pukki has thrived on over the last 2 or 3 years. In probably the last couple of games, Pukki hasn't had that. I mean, he needs people like Buendia making them chances for him, and hopefully today he's been rested for the last 2 games. He will be like a coiled spring today.
Do you think he feels a sense of responsibility for the sending off that he did get, and the little, no, that's not a massive dip in form, but the last 3 games they've drew and lost. Do you think he feels a little bit of responsibility for that because of what happened?
You've got to take responsibility for your actions on the pitch. I mean, he was booked. And even though I think the majority of us said like it wasn't a yellow card, but you didn't have to challenge that. So he went off, and like consequently, the team has lost their most influential player in terms of creating chances. So he's got something to give back today, I feel.
Yeah, and Janulis is back in at left back today. He's kind of been in and out of the team since he's been here. He's had a bit of a culture shock, I would imagine, coming into the side when he did and having the run of form that Norwich have done. It's been a difficult introduction for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, like I say, coming from the Greek league, which is not the best league. This is a really competitive league, the Championship. But I think Daniel's made a good call today, as well as Sorensen has done. He doesn't give you that like positivity and threat going forward by not being a left-footed left back.
Yeah.
So hopefully Giannoulis now, along with Aarons, they can play really high up the pitch like Daniel likes to do in the home games. So I feel that's a good move for him today.
Yeah, we're going to chat to the King of Spain now, Rob. Simon Lapp is joining us, who's out in the gantry doing co-coms with Chris today. Thanks for joining us, Laps. Looking at the side at the moment and the recent run of form, look from a player's point of view, I'm sure you'd say the same thing as we are. Do you think fans are a bit more emotionally involved in it? That they kind of get carried away with the fact they've not won in 3 games, whereas players are a little bit more kind of balanced and see the bigger picture?
Yeah, afternoon guys, absolutely, Darren. I was speaking to Rob on the way up to the gantry here as well. That the reality is they've only lost 1 of the last 3. And I think the biggest concern for supporters will be, well, as you guys touched on, there is a lack of goals, which is obviously slightly concerning. But I think that a lot of the time comes down to the opposition they're coming up against and how hard it is to break teams down. I think we've seen it at Swansea last week, very little in terms of chances created, and hopefully with Buendia, as Rob and yourself have said, coming back into the side today, he'll be desperate to prove a point, and hopefully he'll be the one that can have that creative spark.
Daniel Farke's been very vocal this week about how he wants the fans to understand just what it takes to be a successful team. You know, you have to earn that. It doesn't just happen. So the fact that Norwich having a little bit of a blip in form is quite normal throughout even a championship winning side, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if anything this season the championship is even more unpredictable than any other year. I don't know for what reason that is, but it seems to be. And over the course of the season, they're going to have ups and downs. I think it was Ben Gibson last week in his post-match interview said there's going to be plenty of twists and turns between now and the end of the season, and that will be the same for every other side that's looking to achieve promotion. But obviously we're only focusing on Norwich and what they're doing, so it's never going to be plain sailing. They're not going to win every one of the last remaining 18 games, so there will be twists and turns along the way.
And I probably know what your answer to this is going to be already, but looking at this week and their build-up to this game, do you think their approach should have been any different to it's been so far this season?
I don't think Norwich will ever change. I was speaking to Chris and the guys beforehand that Daniel Farke's got his way of playing, and he's done that for the last 3 seasons now. And I don't think they'll ever go away from that. The one thing I think, though, and other people might disagree with this, they need to have something else up their sleeve when the way they're playing isn't quite working or producing the results they need. They might have to, and again, you guys know what I'll be talking about when I say try and turn teams and stretch them, and then they might get a bit more joy of trying to play these intricate passes and little combinations that they're so good at. But it might take being a little bit ugly for 10-15 minutes to stretch the opposition to allow them to then play the football.
Yeah, and the issue seems to be, as you said, goal scoring, Laps, and you were prolific in your career. so how do we put an end to that?
Prolific if it was over 1 game. Well, again, we were talking with Chris and the guys there about the fact that the burden normally lies with the strikers and Timo Pukki. Jordan Hugo got into the side recently and obviously got himself a few goals and his confidence was building, and now he goes back out with injury. But it's up to other guys as well to chip in. You know, Buendia's got a good return so far this season. I think he's got 7. Todd Cantwell's got a couple. Mario Vrancic. So it's not just the strikers, but it's more creating the chances. And I think, as you said, Rob, as well, that Buendia will be desperate today. I'm sure he'll be firing on all cylinders to overcome the disappointment of his sending off. Yeah. And again, I thought it was really harsh, the second yellow, but he's always running the risk going into that challenge. So he'll feel a sense of responsibility to put on a performance today, I'm sure.
And how will the mentality of the players change now, Laps, because they are falling in second place as they are at the moment? Does that take the pressure off a little bit rather than being top of the table?
I don't think their mentality will change at all, Dan. I think it's so tight up there that it's going to change week to week. Norwich can go back top today and then with Brentford playing tomorrow, and it's going to be topsy-turvy, as I said, between now and the end of the season. So I don't think their mentality will change in terms of if they're the hunted or the hunters.
Yeah, well, so thanks for joining us, mate. Enjoy the game. You're on co-com to Chris Scoreham. Enjoy the gantry. It's nice and cold up there today, isn't it?
Lovely. We've got 18 layers on today.
Brilliant. We'll see you at half-time. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Look, we just talked about the issues there is the goal scoring, isn't it? That's where Norwich have failed in recent weeks, is hitting the back of the net. And Timo Pukki is always going to be the focus of that. But as Lap said there, the other players have got to step up. Defenders have got to step up and score goals as well. I mean, how many goals have we seen from the defence of Norwich this year? Not many.
No, and I think so. And we've said it all along, haven't we? Every game we've watched, the amount of times like Grant Hanley gets headers, but it misses the target. Yeah, I mean, centre half set pieces, I think they should give you at least 10 goals between them. You know what I mean? And the back four, maybe 10 goals between them as well. Like, you know what I mean? So important. And I think Pukki's at that stage now where he is sort of like lacking a bit of confidence, which all strikers go through. But like I say, and Laps is spot on there. I mean, it has to be shared around there. Yeah. Good, solid teams that win leagues, they'll have 4 or 5 players, 8, 9, 10 goals.
And Stoke have been in a terrible run of form as well. They've not won in I think it's 1 in 11. Yeah. You know, they've got some key players in there. Fletcher's an experienced player, and John Obi Mikel, of course, who everybody will know, and of course Angus Gunn. I mean, but you know, what does he offer for is it experience? Is that what Stoke need at the minute?
100%. He'll be playing in that number 6 role. Fletcher will be playing in the centre forward role. So Hanley and Gibson should have no problem with pace, coping with Fletcher Day, but he'll be aggressive with them. And what they've got to do, and maybe like Lap said, like stretch the game up, you know what I mean, play longer passes, because all the time they play the intricate passing, you know what I mean, that Obi Mikel will have that experience to pull people around him and stop the gaps, what you hope Buendia will pass those balls through.
Well, we've got that key matchup today, Emi Buendia and John Obi Mikel, and you can see that, you know, I mean, who do you see coming out on top of that one? Because Obi Mikel he's experienced. He knows how to play against players like Buendia. Would you expect him to come out on top? But Emi's got that ability to be able to probably take advantage of someone who's in the twilight of his career.
No, I think what's happened with Buendia over the last couple of games, him sitting at home watching the team struggle for chances created, and let alone goals scored, but chances created, I think he'll be like a coiled spring today. But like I say, Obi Mikel will not get flustered, and all the time Stoke are in the game. Basically, he will sense something. We can get something from this, so he'll have that nous and knowledge about him through what he's played in the previous years. But I think Buendia will come out on top today, because I'm really excited about his sort of like you say, like a coiled spring. He needs to produce something today, and then, like I say, hopefully everyone will be happy.
And Emi would have been sat at home like we were watching the Swansea game. We've got the highlights to show now of that game, and we can talk over these. Yeah. And this to me was a key point. This was quite early on in the game as well.
Good opportunities.
That as a Timo Pukki doesn't seem like he's quite hitting them like he hits them. And is that just the run of form he's on? He's not quite as confident.
Well, you mean, like I say, I think when strikers don't score goals, they tend to lose that instinct of saying, I know where the goal is without even looking at it. That one there, it was perfect on his right foot. Weight of pass was really good. Missed the target. Missed the target. You've got to hit the target. Pukki rarely misses the target, but at the moment he's just going through that. And like we're seeing clips here, like
well, this is the goal. Rob, Tim Krul makes a mistake in the first place, but there's still 3 or 4 instances to be able to clear that ball. That's pretty poor defending, that one, isn't it?
It is.
And we haven't seen that much from Norwich this season defensively.
And like you say, Tim will take responsibility, because that's the guy Tim is, because I'm good enough to punch that. I went to catch it, made the wrong decision. But like the players around the defenders have got to help him out. See, like Hanley there, it's a header on goal. You mean they've got to go in,
well, isn't he?
Pardon?
He's had plenty of those.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I say, it's a great shot, but he's not under pressure. He's done really well.
What about him though? He's been the signing for Swansea, isn't he? Almost a Huckabee type signing. Look, Norwich had in that over that Christmas period. Look, Swansea are looking for him to carry them over the line.
He wasn't doing that bad at Villa. No. Yeah, I mean, but he's come to here.
It's a big sign. It's a big statement by Swansea,
absolutely.
Isn't it?
And I saw the interview with him after. He's saying they've got a good mix, Swansea, like Norwich has got. But he's that midfielder that scores goals. He scored goals there as well. So Norwich have missed that. But like I say, that game against Swansea, it was a case of sort of like missed chance. I think Swansea deserved to win, but the worry is sort of like it was another clinch. And regardless of how Norwich played leading up to the goal, they never scored the goal and you'll just get sucked in by, say, 0 at the end of like in the goals column, and that has to change.
Yeah, and there's been lots of noises coming out of Carrow Road, or the football club in over this week since that defeat. We've got a quote here from Stuart Webber. Talking as well, and said that lots of messages coming out about similar things to what we're saying. It's not you've got to try and look at the bigger picture of this, haven't you? You don't become a bad team overnight. You don't, do you? No. Those players will be. I tell you what, they'll be miles ahead of what we're thinking already. They're one step ahead. The players, the management, they'll be 10 steps ahead of what we're talking about now. They'd have been thinking about this weeks ago and how they can prepare and how they can do things better.
Yeah, and having a week off was probably helped them as well. But like I say, we're saying it, but we understand exactly what Stuart's saying. You know what I mean? We're saying it because we've got to say it. Like I say, but that is the problem at the moment. They're not scoring goals, and me as a defender, it's one of them situations. The defender's saying, listen, we've got to keep a clean sheet to get a point. Yeah. We know if we can see the goal, will we score 2 goals? At the moment, we've got that feeling we won't score 2 goals. but it has to change, and that can only come by a real solid performance today. And like you say, 1 game lost in the last 7 is not a bad record. You know what I mean? But they're not picking those 3 points up. They're picking 1 point up, and the others and the 2, especially the 2 underneath them, have come up now and they're winning the games.
And you've got players like Todd Cantwell we've just seen there, who he's a big character in terms of his personality. This is a time where he can make a real name for himself, isn't it? Between now and the end of the season is when players like him, if they want to be at the real top of the game and play at the real highest level they can, this is the time they've got to show their worth.
Absolutely, and I think what's happened with Todd, especially over the last 2 or 3 games, since that Middlesbrough game when Middlesbrough put a player on Todd Cantwell, a player on Emi Buendia, you know what I mean? He's got to realise that could happen, because good players, that happens to good players, but good players know how to deal with that. They know how to find spaces, they know how to create chances and whatever. And Todd Cantwell, this is the first time that Todd Cantwell has been an actual marked player on the pitch. So he has to benefit from these instances and these sort of like games where he's getting marked. So he has to lose those players, and he has to still create chances, because that's what good players do.
Yeah, and it is all down to the players, and someone who's well aware of the players. The next Norwich City Yellows podcast is coming up for you. And just take a little look at a clip for this one now.
Me and Stuart were going to go and watch Timu Pukki playing for Bromby, and we went to Stansted, got on a flight. I won't name the company, begins with an R. Just for legal reasons. And while we were sitting there, something went wrong with the engine on the plane, and we were sat front row ready to go, and the engine went wrong, and I said, listen, we'll get you on another plane, and we'll go, and that took about 2 hours, and we ended up just walking back through the airport because we couldn't make the game. So the game went ahead, and he scored 2 goals in it, Pukki, as well, and me and Stuart were meant to be there, but obviously with a plane blowing up at the end of that, so we ended up back at home watching it on telly. So that's always stuck with me, that one, to be honest.
Well, we all know what happened to Timo Pukki after that. He signed for Norwich City, and the rest is history. Been an absolute legend since he's been here, and top goal scorer. So fantastic for that. And Kieran Scott is obviously someone who's come into a role in 2 seasons he's been here now.
Yeah,
I think
so.
2 or 3
so,
seasons. And we're going to speak to someone now who actually sat in that role before he did, and it's Tony Spearman, who's joined us up on the gantry as well. Tony, thanks for joining us. Yeah, you've spent a bit of time scouting players and looking at players for Norwich City as well. How difficult has that become now as a job? Because the rules are now changed in terms of Brexit as well. Because Timo Pukki would have not actually been able to sign for Norwich on the new sort of point scoring rule.
Yeah, exactly. Everything has changed, obviously, with the COVID. But obviously, you can't see players live, which is always what you want to do. You don't want to really take players on the back of films or wide scouts. So yeah, it's changed an awful lot.
Yeah, you've got a right cushy job now, haven't you, Spiro? You're working as international scout for Scotland. I mean, so you're here obviously today watching a few players.
Yeah, that's right. I've worked with the manager Steve Clark for many years. I was with him at West Brom. I was with him at Reading, Kilmarnock, and now I'm lucky enough he's taken me to with the national squad. So I'm watching obviously the Norwich boys today, Kenny and Grant, and obviously Fletcher for Stoke, and 1 or 2 others that might just get into the Scotland squad on another way.
I mean, looking at those players you've got here, I mean, we've talked a lot about Grant Hanley this season. I mean, he's played so well for Norwich in terms of, we've been surprised just how quick he is as well. I mean, is that something you've been surprised as a scout to pick up? Because you don't generally see it on the TV, do you? Like you say, you have to be here live to kind of appreciate the quality of a player.
Yeah, Grant's a good player. I mean, I've always liked him. Actually, when I was at Norwich, we tried to sign him from Newcastle. It was done the following year when I left, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for Norwich, of course. But yeah, I mean, Grant, you look at him, he's quite wooden in his movements, but he is very quick, especially 1v1. He's an experienced guy. Obviously, he got in the last squad. Unfortunately, he had to pull out due to injury, but he's a good player. He's got loads of knowledge. He's an experienced guy, which is what Norwich are going to need, in the running.
Yeah, and looking at Norwich at the moment, Tony, you obviously keep one eye on them. You play for both of these teams as well. You play for Norwich and Stoke. I mean, looking at Norwich at the moment, people keep talking about a dip in form, which I guess it is a slight one, but it's certainly not time for panic stations, is it?
No, certainly not. I mean, but it's interesting because Norwich are under pressure for the first time. They're looking over their shoulder and they've seen that gap close. Obviously, there's other clubs around them have picked up points when Norwich have dropped theirs. But I expect them, with the squad they've got, the experience they've got, to get over the line for sure.
And you, as a player, again, Spiro, you probably like us. You're a bit more level-headed about it, rather than fans get quite emotionally involved, and you lose a couple of games, you think that's the end of the world, they're not going to get promoted. Whereas players and management, I think, probably see it a little bit differently. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, fans are fans, they're fanatics. They want their team to win every week, clean sheets and score 3 or 4. It doesn't work like that. I mean, I think if you said to every Norwich City fan at the start of the season, you know, would you be happy come mid-February to be in the top 2, they would take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Spiro, thanks for joining us, mate. We'll join us again at half-time. We'll see you then.
You're welcome.
Look, we've looked at, done a little bit of research, Rob, since we've spoken to Spiro, and we like to do a bit of research on our guests who's they're coming on. And we found a Panini sticker of Spiro from many years ago. Look at that! But look, this is what his price is going for. So the only Spiro in Panini sticker is going for £1.25. So that is a good Barnet, though, isn't it?
That is a great Barnet.
Yeah.
Make £1.25.
£1.25.
I think I'm 75p.
Well, mate, we've actually found yours too.
Mate,
Can you believe it?
please tell me I'm more than £1.25.
Let's play a little bit of family fortune here, right? What do you think it is, mate? £2. You're higher. You happy with that? Happy with that? You're happy with that?
Still got that same Barnet as well.
Apparently, now they've not shown me the producers, but apparently they've found mine as well. Now, what do you reckon it is? Higher or lower than £2?
I'll be higher, mate.
You reckon I'm higher?
Yeah, higher, mate.
Well, I've got to be higher, and higher,
Yes,
higher.
Mate, to be fair though,
Well, I'm not having that. You're worth double me. I'm not having it. Can you believe that?
Mate, look at your Barnet roller there.
Mate, I know you're double the size, but you ain't double the price, mate.
To be fair, it'd be quite funny whether they can impose our faces on them pictures now and actually see our Barnets like back then or where they're now. Like,
can we get another look at Rob's again, please? Can we just put Rob's back up?
It's grey up.
Can we get Rob's back up? You look handsome there, don't you? Look at it. What happened?
Fair, great.
You had a tough paper round.
That's what you get for 600 grand, man. I'm telling you.
You look great on there. But did you just collect them as a kid, though? Were you a big collector of the
add them all, like, you know what I mean? Like I say, but it seems to have gone now, though, haven't they?
Well, we've got Norwich City have obviously got theirs.
Yeah, the new one,
We've got theirs,
that one, aren't we?
which are available at Toftwood. It's Toftwood, mate. We said last week.
Tofton.
In Toftwood.
Tofton.
Yeah, in the convenience stores in Toftwood, you can find that, and in other good convenience stores around the country.
Great book.
But it is, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's like I say, it's factual, and I mean, like now you get this buzz about if you get a sticker and then you swap it with your mates and whatever, like that, what we did back then. But once you get it, it's nice to keep, and like 10 years time just to get it out and have a look at because like we were there.
We'll have to say as well, the players get a bit bothered by it because I'm not in this one. I'm not very happy. Have you checked if you're in this one?
If you're not in it, mate, there's no way I will be in it.
I bet you are, mate. Let's have a look at some of the names in
there.
There's
a Barry Butler winner.
I've got to find out who's in it and see if they deserve to be in it. Mate, you carry on. You talk to the people at home. Anybody you want to say hello to today? Let's have a look. And we've got the current team.
That is the current team. But then there's special players because you won the Barry Butler. I was second to you for the Barry Butler, wasn't I?
I don't know.
Player of the year.
Nobody remembers second, mate.
That's true. That's true. But you was the show pony and I'm the workhorse. And all teams need workhorses.
Paul McVeigh.
What's Paul McVeigh in there for?
Paul McVeigh. What's that all about?
Mate, that's the fame in the book. That's like a Bible to some people. You're throwing up the floor. You do it.
Mate, look, someone who is back in the game, so obviously made a mistake at Swansea last weekend was Tim Krul.
Yeah, no. Got no worries. Got no worries about him today. Tim Krul is the master professional. You know what I mean? It was a mistake by making the wrong decision. If you'd asked him again, he would have probably said, I should have punched it. Tim Krul has saved the unbelievable amount of points over the last 10 games, the last 3 or 4 seasons. Tim Krul will not be bothered by that. Tim Krul will be one of the ones in there saying, this is an important game.
We've got a head-to-head of the two as well, quickly as well. We've got Tim Krul and Angus Gunn.
Angus, yeah.
So you can see, look, hard to compare. One's 24, one's a bit more experienced than that.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, Angus Gunn is probably looking at Tim Krul thinking, I want the career he's having, because Angus is now, he's still at Southampton, but he's out in Stoke.
Yeah.
You know, is it a chance for him to reignite his career?
Angus has probably lost his way a bit. You know what I mean? He came to Norwich, he did really well on loan from Man City, got that move from Southampton, played in the 9-0 against Leicester, I think, was sort of criticised and chastised for that, or not be his fault, all the goals or whatever, and he's sort of gone downhill from there. He's sort of as if to say, I'm taking a backward step to hopefully jump 2 or 3 steps forward. If he could emulate what Tim Krul's done in the game, Tim Krul's got back into the national team. So you mean, say, Tim Krul is a great role model, and I think hopefully Tim Krul will give some words of advice to Angus.
Yeah, and it is now, Rob, officially the Chinese New Year. I'm sure you knew that.
I don't know.
Do you know what Chinese sign you are? Chinese New Year sign?
No.
You're the same as me. We are rabbits. apparently.
Rabbits,
It's the year of the ox, but we were both born in the year of the rat. You thought you were a rat. Well, take a little look at this. There's a little VT here now of Tim Krul and Jordan Hugel cooking up a bit of a storm for Chinese New Year.
To be honest, I'm not a mushroom man.
No, I'm not.
I ain't got much room for him.
Tim, you are absolutely scrambling, by the way.
You enjoying those cashew nuts?
How many do we need?
Half a packet we can eat, mate.
So you've got half a
I've got half a packet left.
No, well, there you are. But
Well, you can see the outcome of that on the club website to see who actually did produce the best dish. Were you a decent cook?
I'm not bad, mate.
Yeah?
Not bad, yeah.
Just prefer eating it.
I've got to the level of a shepherd's pie now. I can do a shepherd's pie, so it's not too bad.
Is that literally, how old are you?
Mate, trust me, I can
And
cook
all you
a
can
good
cook is a
meal.
shepherd's pie?
Listen, Valentine's Day coming up on Sunday, mate. I'll be cooking a nice meal on
Oh, yeah.
Sunday.
That's a promise to Joe back home. Hope she is this, mate.
Absolutely.
Be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, we're going to have a look now at the last time Norwich visited Stoke. Take a look.
Good move here by Norwich City as Pukki's taken out, but gives it to the ball is into Emi Buendia, who plays it in and has scored. Emi Buendia, the ball through. Teemu Pukki is still lying down, but Norwich City are a goal up. 17 minutes gone. It's Stoke 0, Norwich 1. Martin, cushion ball down for Skip, who gets a bit lucky there, and then there's a great ball over the top by Buendia. And Pukki's on his bike for this one. Shot by Teemu Pukki, and it's into the back corner. What a goal by Teemu Pukki. It's Stoke 0, Norwich 2. Yeah, got to make sure they don't do anything silly though. Although Tetty's done well to get a ball, who's threaded it through to Teemu Pukki. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, goes round him, keeper gets a bit of it. Teemu Pukki puts it into an empty net, and that is 3-0 to Norwich City. You know, these freak injuries that have been happening for Norwich City, you don't want another one to happen when you're 3-0 up, but we will find out shortly. As there's a bit of a high foot from Emi Buendia, who could be in trouble here. This might change things. A high foot from Emi Buendia, who's already on a yellow card, and he's gone. That's a red card for Emi Buendia. What are they going to do? Has that affected their plans as they're defending at the moment? Our Norwich City ball comes in, and there's a header, and it's Campbell inside the box, and there you go. That's how quickly things change in football. 69 minutes gone. It's Stoke 1, Norwich 3. Ball comes straight in, and it's in already. And I'm not sure who got the final touch, but Stoke are within a goal of Norwich City. It's now Stoke 2, Norwich 3.
Well, hopefully the same outcome today, Rob. Probably not as much drama we wouldn't take. We certainly don't want to see Emi going off the pitch again today. But we've got the recent form of both teams to take a look at now. And as we said, look, Stoke are having a pretty horrendous time at the moment. You know, they've not won in essentially 11 games now, Rob. And you look at Norwich's. I know you got the cup game in there as well, but you know you've only lost 1 in 7. I mean, why do people tend to panic so much? Is it because other teams have done so well and just caught Norwich up? But they've earned the right to be where they are because the hard work and how well they did early on in the season.
Like I said, like Spiro's just said there, you mean like 3-4 games ago, Norwich was sitting 6 points clear. Yeah, I mean, no one in sight of them. All of a sudden, Brentford and Swansea's form has been really good. Norwich form hasn't been that bad. They've just not been scoring goals. And the 3 points, which we know are so important, rather than like 2 or 3 like draws, that's what helps, and that's what Swansea have done. They've won the games rather than drawing them. So listen, like Spiro's just said, if you'd have said at the start of the season, Norwich second place in the Championship mid-February, you would have took it.
Yeah. What's your prediction for today then?
Norwich
it's got to be a good one from Norwich, doesn't it? As much as it's never a must-win game at this time of the season, but certainly it's a time to put a bit of a statement down and just steady the ship a little bit.
I'd like to see Norwich score early. We've never really seen Norwich score early and then like go on and score 3 and 4. So hopefully today I'm going to sort of like go for a really convincing 3-0 win.
Love the sound of that. I'm going to go for convincing win as well. Probably not 3. I'm going to go for 2-0 today.
Okay, good.
But I think when you look at Norwich's side, Emi back in the side, he's got to be influential today, isn't he? And show just his worth and actually give something back for the I guess missing him in the teams, which is down to his own fault.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Playing Gino Nunes as well at left back, I think that's a really attacking move as well. So Norwich teams today has all the hallmarks of a real positive, up and at them attitude today, I think, and fingers crossed we can score that early goal, and then I think that will go on to lead to 2 and 3 and hopefully.
And just very quickly, Daniel Farker's message to the team before he comes out today: no panic stations, get on, do your job.
No, at all. Just go out and play like you've played in the previous games, but be more clinical in the final third.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, enjoy the game. We will see you at half time. Fingers crossed for another Norwich win.
Swimming at night, she's been calling on me. Hold my breath in the pool, but she's been underwater in the Indian Sea. I've been doing it right, can't forget what she said. When you finish with you,